I've been in this different paradigm, I think, for a very long time with the anticipation or the expectation that there would finally be a breaking point and we'd get counseling. For Christine, it's been finally there was a breaking point and she's out.
It's been months since the conversation about no intimacy in our marriage. If he was interested in therapy, he could have said something.
Like, she's got this deer in the headlights look, like, get away from me.
Back, and I wish that I would have left in Vegas and never come here.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's Tuesday, September 20th. We just finished up our first video of the day where we covered the Duggars and a scandal related to Adam Levine. I know I don't normally talk about other celebrities on this channel, but I'm trying to interweave and create some dual topics in videos for, variety and to, expand what we talk about. It's always good to have more than 2 topics on any channel. So make sure if you haven't checked out that video, you do. Right now, we're going to talk about a response that Mr. Payton, Christine Brown's son, had to his father about his marriage with his mother. And it's kind of Kody got blasted.
I'm married to 2 divorced women. I know what their opinion is of that guy. I don't want to have that happen here. I don't want her going around the country telling people that I'm a bad person.
I think we're going to start to see this a lot more as the season goes on, as kids start to react to what they're seeing and seeing the way that their moms are being mistreated. So one of the things about this last week's episode I noticed more than anything is that the older kids are no longer on the show. And I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's that they don't want to be on the show. I don't know if it's that they're not on the show. I know that some of the older kids don't want to be on the show. I know he mentioned that Logan, Kody once mentioned that Logan, McKelty, Tony, Maddie, Caleb, they're not really like on the show as much. They don't want to be. Aspen and Mitch, they've kind of moved on with their lives and don't necessarily want to be affiliated with the reality show. But I also noticed that Gwendolyn isn't participating. Peyton's not participating. Garrison and Gabriel had an opportunity to speak, and instead they were just blasted and almost in a way slandered by their father. And here's the thing is, if they're going to talk about people like their kids on the show and the kids aren't on the show to defend themselves, there's something about that literally does not sit right with me. Because if you're going to use your platform to speak about your family, but your family is not there to defend themselves, it feels very unfair. In fairness, Christine and Janelle did their best to defend them, but I still don't think it's fair to discuss people that are not there to defend themselves. It feels like an imbalance. And if the boys don't want to be on the show because of the way that their dad is treating them, it feels like Kody Brown can then use this platform to further hurt his family. And that's not fair either. So we talked about Robin scoffing that she's the favorite wife. We also talked about how the kids have kind of taken a divide and they are like against Kody and Robin, and they're sort of on their own. The 12 kids have followed Robin, or following the lead with Christine and Janelle on that side of the family. One part we didn't talk about was that during the discussion between Christine and Kody talked about how he felt like there was this grave injustice happening to him because Christine had the audacity to leave him and that she was going to take their child. And because by moving to Utah, it's her fault that the kids don't have relationships with her. It's her fault that, all these relationships have been poisoned. And he's blaming her for a lot of it. He does eventually start coming around, but he's, he even says he needs to go to grief counseling because he can't handle the fact that she's moving on and he wasn't ready for it. Some of you said like that's not actually grief, but that's not him being sad. But I don't know. I mean, you can still be a narcissist and be sad, but it could be a wound to his ego, so it's not actually sadness. I don't know. It's all complicated. Anyways, before we get into what Peyton said about his dad, do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed, and make sure you turn those notifications on so you know when new content loads, when a new video pops up, if I go live. Make sure you set your notifications to all, and of course, leave me a comment and share this video with your friends. Okay, so on TikTok, Peyton has been using his platform to sometimes respond to different things that he hears from his mom or about his mom, or he, lifts up his mom and talks about how much he loves his mom. But this was very pointed and clearly very much at his father. Check it out.
Any king that has to say, I am the king, is no true king. Any man of the house that has to say, I am the man of the house, is no true man of the house.
So he says, any king that has to say, I'm the true king, or any man of the house that has to say, I am the man of the house, is not a real king and is also not the real man of the house. And I'm confident this is about his dad, because his dad frequently says, I'm the man of the house. I'm the head of the household. I'm the man in charge. And he's constantly saying this on the show and asserting himself that he is the man of the house. And Peyton's saying, if you have to say that, and you have to say, it's almost like you're telling yourself that you have to convince yourself that you are the man of the house, or that you not need to pontificate to everyone else, or puff your chest out and make people believe that you're bigger than who you are. It's phony, it's fake, you're not who you say you are, you're not the man of the house, you're no man of the house to me. And it's also not humble at all. And then he goes on to say this.
Me and my siblings say that my mom is a strong, independent woman all the time. People tell me, Peyton, your mom Christine is a strong, independent woman all the time. My mom does not claim to be a strong, independent woman, because she is a strong, independent woman.
So his rationalization is that if you are something, your actions are going to speak with, your actions are going to demonstrate who you are. Christine having the ability to actually leave the doctrine that she grew up in, of that, Kody has invited her into the celestial kingdom by being his third wife. And because she was the third wife, that was their token into the celestial kingdom. And her children and her are invited to become part of his kingdom, where he might become a god and she may become a goddess. And her only token into heaven is through Kody. And, she left that entire doctrine by leaving him. That's a huge step. And that does take someone who's strong and independent. And she doesn't claim to be strong and independent. In fact, she's extremely humble and says that for the longest time, she didn't feel like she was strong. She didn't feel like she was independent. She didn't feel like she could do anything without Kody. So for him, it's saying, my mom is showing through her actions that that she is strong and independent and that she's fierce. Kody, through his actions, is not showing that he's the man of the house. He is not showing that he's a king. He's showing that he's an a-hole, right? Peyton's been pretty forthcoming about his feelings about his dad. And I think in general, the kids don't have a good relationship with their father. They want to blame everything on COVID. But Peyton was really honest when he did an interview. I think it was with Us Weekly, or it might have been it could have been while he was doing a live, and he was talking about growing up and seeing the inequity in the family. Robin's kids got different gifts. Robin's kids got more time. Robin's kids got more affection. He took the kids places that he never got to go to. His dad spent his time and energy on Robin's kids, and he likened it to the fact that my dad found a woman that he loved, and Robin found someone that could take care of her kids. Just because a man finds a wife and new kids doesn't mean he gets to ignore his responsibilities with the wife and the children that he has, right? It doesn't, it's asinine, I tell you, it's asinine. He still had a responsibility to those kids, and he flat out knew that he had a responsibility to those children when he married Robin, and Robin knew that he was married and had those children. But to them, it was like one more wife to help him get more into the kingdom. But the difference is that he used that as a tool to I finally got one I like. I'm going to spend all my time with her, and I don't have to deal with these old ladies that aren't going to have their kids anymore, that whine and yell at me all the time. Another thing that I thought was funny is that Kody said that on the show that he never said very often, if you don't like it, you can leave, very often. But literally, I feel like every single season they've had that conversation publicly. where he's like, well, it's not a prison. Nobody's a prisoner here. Anyone can leave at any time. They've literally said this so many times over the years. It's free will, right? He can't leave, but they can. But he literally said, I never thought that me saying if she didn't like it, she would leave would actually mean that she would leave. Like, he believed that he had so much power because, truthfully, I believe that he didn't think she was going to leave the doctrine, which would make her stay. And something interesting that I want to point out is that when Kody talked about Christine leaving, he said she's lost her faith, because he knows that she's not going to stay with him without that faith. There's no reason for her to stay in polygamy without faith. The only reason Mary continues to stay is because she still believes that she needs Kody to get into heaven. I would encourage you, if you have some time, to watch some videos or documentaries. There was a documentary years ago by the Fifth Element, which is the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Company, and it was called Winston Blackmore and Polygamy, the Bishop in Bountiful, BC. That gives you a really good rundown of the theology. That's very simple to understand if you're new to the theology. There's also the Mormon Stories podcast. There is a YouTube channel called Growing Up in Polygamy with Sam and Melissa. So there, and then there's like, oh gosh, there's so many different documentaries that have been made. Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. But honestly, you need to understand that the theology is why they stay. It has nothing to do with money. They all believe they're going to go to heaven and become God and goddesses. So Kody's son is basically saying, Dad, you are not a king. This is not your castle. Mom is strong and independent. She doesn't need everyone else to know it because that is who she is. Stop acting so arrogant and foolish. I'm not buying it anymore. Everyone's on to you, Dad. Give it up. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.